So we're on.
Yep.
For the people that are online, and for people here, I'd like to welcome you to this is October, right?
Yes.
The October meeting of the Town of Pine Plains Zoning Board of Appeals. We have agenda that just has, two items. We have a public hearing on, the Pines area variance for a fence that's 1 foot taller, and we have approval of September minutes. Does anyone have anything else that they need to talk about? So that being the case, we'll open the meeting, and is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So made.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all will say aye.
Aye.
And so the public hearing is open. I would say that I'll depend on the secretary that in fact notices went out. I'm not seeing anyone in the audience other than the applicant. We don't have anyone online.
No, but we did receive that one email. Did you see it?
And actually, if I'd like to read that. into the
Okay,
record.
so I tried to print it out a million times and it wouldn't work, but I have it here. If you can see it up there, is that? I can read it if you want.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Again, reading this into the record, presumably we're online here.
okay, so this is from Jason Perez. He lives at 51 North Main Street. He wrote, we oppose the variance concerning the 7-foot proposed fence proposed for the property at 5 Maple Street, the Pines. The neighborhood itself has very few fences of any height. A 7-foot fence would stand out immensely and detract from the scenery of the neighborhood, with woods/vegetation already on the north side of the property to provide, in our opinion, a decent privacy screen. Anyway, a 7-foot fence is complete overkill and not sufficient reason for providing his variance to the town regulations.
Sincerely, Jason Perez and Simone Montemora. So that house is the house at the corner of what's that little street?
Pioneer Drive.
Pioneer Drive and North Main Street. And so it'll be on the southwest corner of that intersection. That's where the house is. And I did discuss this with Mike at the site inspection. I suspect, and the applicant's not here to clarify, but there is no fence proposed that is going to be very visible from North Main Street. You must come in or probably a couple hundred feet before the fence actually starts.
Yeah, pretty much.
It doesn't go out.
It doesn't go out.
It's on the back side of the barn down.
Considering this applicant does not live in Pine Plains on a full-time basis, they reside in Texas. I'm sorry, that doesn't hold any water for me.
Yeah, well, but I think that I suspect it's a misunderstanding in that I suspect they could barely, if at all, see the fence.
No.
And what they were suggesting that the vegetation is sufficient. I believe that the applicant agrees with that and therefore has not put any fence.
Right.
That remains.
Right, on the west side, absolutely.
This is actually on the north, on their north boundary, the southern boundary of the cemetery.
Right.
It doesn't start until you're well past actually the house of the Pines. It goes all the way
And the barn.
to that building, to the barn.
Yeah.
And so without them being here to I actually didn't see any real issue.
No, they live in Texas full-time. They're here maybe twice a year.
My guess is they saw it and misread.
Yeah, they probably thought it came all the way to north.
All the way to the morning.
Yeah.
That would be overkill.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not,
And
but we're putting the fence when there is no vegetation.
Right.
And so I think that is, we're left to our own devices to try to figure out what their concern was and whether they were misinformed since they're not here to add more. My look at that was, again, since this doesn't go anywhere near their property nor all the way out to North Main, I did not see an issue.
No,
When I toured with the applicant. It seemed reasonable. It's in an area which is mostly between the cemetery and this property, which is used for some events like weddings and other things. And to screen the cemetery monuments, it's going to be an attractive fence. I don't think that the people in the cemetery are going to be affected or nor complain. And the only other place that it was to screen the last I think that there were 3 or 4 properties on Maple, and I would think that they wouldn't mind being screened from any events that were happening
Right.
behind there. And those are deep lots. The fence is not close to their homes.
And none of those people are here to.
Yeah, and so not hearing any, I didn't have any real issues and could understand what was trying to be accomplished. And so that's the only thing that I would put on the record as far as what I saw. Anybody else want to add anything else? Ed, do you have any thoughts?
I don't see any harm with it at all.
Yeah.
I understand the need,
Mhm.
people don't want to go to a wedding and look at a cemetery.
I don't know.
Or have looky loos looking at him as they're walking through the
That's
cemetery.
right.
I don't know if Jorge, you wanted to add anything else to the record or not?
No, that's about it. All the documents that were presented, the pictures of the fence and the layouts and all that. Other than that is,
Okay, hearing nothing else, is there a motion to close the hearing?
So made.
Second,
Second,
any further discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I, always do my best to try to get us a document to discuss. Jorge, you're welcome to look at this. This is just, we have to go through this motion of group writing. It's not always easy. I always find it easier if someone takes a shot at it. And, so I did. We have one for Ed. And so, this is the rough draft that we get to, we'll have to tune it up based upon, I wrote this before I had heard or had seen the email, so. This is the proposed, draft for people to shoot at and make whatever changes are necessary. Whereas the Town of Pine Plains Zoning Board of Appeals is in receipt of the area variance application from Jorge. Put in the address and check tax parcel number and things like that, also known as the Pines, to allow construction of a 7-foot privacy fence in the rear of the property along the north boundary of the property adjoining the Evergreen Cemetery, and where the property abuts the rear yards of neighbors along Maple Street. The owner operates a bed and breakfast and hosts special events and desires to screen the cemetery monuments from view, as well as provide privacy to neighbors when the Pines hosts special events. The proposed 6-foot wooden fence would be placed 1 foot above grade, resulting in a 7-foot height, 1 foot taller than permitted by law, by the zoning law. Whereas the zoning board of appeals has reviewed the subject variance requests. What's the number?
It might be 4. I have to check.
All right, well, we'll check the number. And whereas after review of the application, including review of the town habitat map, a site inspection, a legally noticed public hearing held on October 22nd with neighbors expressing, all right, let's say expressing concerns regarding the possible view of a fence from North Main,
Mhm.
right? And then I guess we'll need to add and whereas and so this is free writing here. And Whereas, at the site inspection, it was ascertained that the fence did not or wasn't or would be minimally visible from
North Main Street.
North Main Street and from the property of the neighbors raising concerns. Actually, do we have on the application, is there a way to say that it's at least doesn't start until at least 100 or 200 feet from North Main Street?
I would just say more than 100 feet.
Okay,
Use that, because you know that's a,
Definitely more than 100.
yeah, definitely more than 100, but we don't have an exact amount.
all right, would be, so, and whereas the site inspection, at the site inspection, it was ascertained that the fence would be minimally visible.
The survey says that from North Main to where that little
From North
Yeah.
Main,
in the cemetery, that little building there, that's about 186 feet just to that building.
all right, so let's put 150 feet.
It's another 100 feet to the building.
Yeah.
Out of that.
And you're definitely well beyond
Yeah,
200.
well beyond.
All right, so more than 150 feet from North Main before the fence starts.
Right.
And minimally visible from the neighbors raising the concern. And whereas the action is exempt from referral to the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development, and whereas the proposed action is a type 2 action under seeker and by law is not considered to have a significant impact on the environment, no further environmental review is required. And whereas the Pines is a unique historically significant property of approximately 4.7 acres in the neighborhood, having a long history of serving paying guests and hosting special events important to the community long before the zoning law was adopted. And whereas the board finds that allowing a 7-foot privacy fence along the cemetery, 100, at least 150 feet from North Main Street. Will not affect the cemetery function, and also finds that the same 7-foot fence along the rear yard of the 3 neighbors, because I think it was just the 3, wasn't it, Jorge?
I'm sorry?
Just the 3 neighbors on Maple Street
3 neighbors.
would best function for providing privacy. And whereas the variance requested is not substantial for the neighborhood, and whereas the lot and home were previously existing prior to zoning, and increasing the allowed fence height to 7 feet will not adversely affect the character of, nor be a detriment to the neighborhood. And now therefore be it resolved that based upon the preceding findings, the zoning board of appeals of the town of Pine Plains hereby, and I, looking around the table, I'm gonna say grants the application. I will make sure that I check these section numbers one more time, but I'll make sure that we are referring to the correct sections. And allowing the proposed fence height to be increased to 7 feet for the section of fence extending along the Evergreen Cemetery and along the rear yards of the tax parcels, and we will put in the tax numbers there.
Mhm.
Fronting on Maple Street. And I don't think we need any conditions. And if that seems like that meets what were the concerns, Is there a motion to proceed with this, motion or this resolution?
I'll make a motion.
If you're mowing the lawn, you should recuse.
I'll make a motion
Yep,
to approve the,
I'll second it.
all right. Motion's made and seconded, and are there any further discussion? If not, all in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Aye, three of us are saying aye and one is abstaining. And that being that, I think you should be all set. We'll find, I mean, this will be finalized and Ed can supervise placement of the fence, and I think we're all good.
Okay, great, yeah, thank you very much.
thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Take care.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll come in.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you very much.
Right, good night.
Good night.
Oh, yeah, I gave you some
Yes.
suggestions.
Yeah, change.
And as long as they got made, is there a motion to approve the minutes in
So made.
September?
Second.
All right, any further discussion? If not, all in favor, let's say aye.
Aye.
Is there any other business? Hearing none, I think we have a motion to adjourn.